This is A12 bringing you my draft analysis for EDC Season 12. Now, EDC is slightly different than most leagues since they legalize Dialga Origin. So, as you can imagine, I asked the RNG gods to give me a good pick, and let me tell you, they delivered. So for round 1, we got one of the best steel types in the game in Iron Treads. Okay, so I wasn't first pick, but I was still pretty close to the wheel, which is pretty solid. Now, I picked Treads round 1 since in Paldeodex, if you don't get either Terapagos, Treads, or Great Tusk, you get stuck with like Kamala for removal. So I wanted Treads is because I knew I wanted good removal on my team, since our next pick is Gouging Fire. Now, Gouging Fire follows a trend which I've noticed in Scarlet and Violet for giving a great legendary Pokemon a gigantic head. I mean, just look at it. Gouging Fire's head is almost as big as the rest of its body. Now, I mainly picked Gouging Fire since I haven't used it before and it has a cool design, so I kind of wanted to try it. Now, one thing you could probably start to notice is my team is a little bit slow. So we decided to add some speed with the next pick in Terra Iron Boulder. I thought that Iron Boulder would pair well with Iron Treads, since it applies a lot of offensive pressure to the pesky flying types which Treads doesn't particularly appreciate dealing with. Now, one thing you may start to notice with my team is that it's starting to develop a huge ground and water weakness. So, our next pick, we plan to drown the competition with Rotom Wash to patch that weakness. There really isn't a whole lot to say about Rotom Wash. I mean, it's a washing machine that somehow has more special attack than the legendary Electric Golem, Regieleki. So now, our team's starting to look pretty solid, but it does have a bit of a special frailty, and it's lacking a grounded poison. So, we're patching both of those with our next pick in Pheasantipity. Now, Pheasantipity provides us with a fairy type, which is always nice to have to prevent Draco and Outreach spam. Pheasantipity unfortunately does add another ground weakness to our already fairly ground weak team. So, I plan to patch that hole once again with drafting Terra Hydrapple. Now, Terra Hydrapple is also very unique in that it has Grass and Dragon Stab, which have access to some of the highest base-powered moves in the game, which allows it to hit like a truck even when it doesn't have investment. Unfortunately, even with Hydrapple and Rotom Wash, our team still does have a slight ground weakness and a pretty big psychic weakness. So, we're patching both of those up with Iron Jugulis. I actually have never used Iron Jugulis before, but I like using Hydreigon a lot, so I figured I would try using Jugulis since they probably play similarly. So, we're getting towards the end of this draft. I'm getting a bit tired, and I hope I don't start snoring during this recording. Shit. Okay, so Snorlax is a ghost immunity, which this team was lacking and has some annoying curse and utility sets. It also provides a decent special wall so that I don't have to apply as much pressure to Hydrapple and Pheasantipity on my team. So, speaking of not applying as much pressure to Pheasantipity, our next pick does exactly that. For our next pick, we selected Granbull. Granbull provides a team with another fairy, so that I have another potential way to check powerful dragons. So, now we're on to our final pick, and our last pick is Dewgong. Now, I made an entire video speaking about how underrated Dewgong is in the format, so I won't go too much into detail, but Dewgong has a lot of utility and has a very unique resist profile that makes it pretty solid in draft format. I'll link the video in the description in case you're curious. So that is our team for the EDC Season 12. Hopefully we can win the championship this season. And KO Raikou so many times that feels like a mother...